How did growing up with 9 siblings impact your financial approach?
Oh, financially interesting. I don't know. I was gonna say like my life approach. I can answer that with.
Well, let's do both.
Okay, let's start with the life approach. Like one, I am the least selfish person in the world, to a fault. Like I will give and give and give and give. Whatever you need. Like if you're in my house, I'll be like, oh, you need a bathing suit? Here, I got a couple. Or you want to wear this? Here, I have an extra pair of sandals. I'm just like that with everything. And I've met people, friends of mine who've been like the only child or have come from a smaller family that are not like, they are very particular about their things. And it's like in my house, you could not afford to not share. We would share clothes. We would share like hairbrushes. We would share like the bathroom, like the mirror, doing makeup at the same time, all the girls. And like, it was always just like, we can't afford to not share. Like we have way too many people, way too many mouths to feed, and so much going on. We shared beds, like there were bunk beds and there were 2 girls per bed, like, and the boys all slept in one room. So it's just this constant, like, we are a community, we are one, we're a group, and we are a tribe, and whatever one gets, we all get, and we kind of like share with each other. But I realized that started to hurt me financially. And one quick excerpt or story, an example of this was when I graduated and I was doing Teach for America, a really good personal friend of mine, like family friend, and we went to like elementary school, middle school together, and then 2 different high schools, but we stayed friends. So I come back home after college, and she and I became roommates with a third roommate as well. And so we're in the community where I grew up. It was a very comfortable environment. Everything was safe and fun, and we were having a good time. And then she started opening up about her family struggles and that her little sister was not going to be able to go back to Penn State for her last semester or for her sophomore or junior year because they couldn't get approved for her student loans. She couldn't get approved. Her sister couldn't get approved. The parents had really bad credit. And so she asked me if I would be willing. And I was like, I mean, I have really good credit because I don't have student loans. And I co-signed a student loan for someone else who is like, she wasn't even my direct best friend. She was my best friend's little sister. And so there was sort of like this degree of separation between us. It's not like I could keep tabs on her because she was not really my best friend. So it was really hard because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like reading through the fine print, not really reading it. And then I just like submitted the application and I was approved instantly. So it was like, I think it was $13,000. And I was like, oh, that's a big amount. But in my mind, I'm like, but it's in her name. I just co-signed. I just helped her get approved. Not knowing what co-sign means. Anybody out there who doesn't know what co-sign means, guys, it means that you are fully responsible for that other person's debt in the event that that person can't pay. So you are essentially saying, if she doesn't send the money, I will. That's what you're saying. And I had no idea. I was like 21 or 22 before my Miss Be Helpful, journey. And so I made a huge mistake. And then when she graduated, or when she was supposed to graduate, she was a little bit behind on credit, so she couldn't graduate. So she graduated 6 months late, extending the loans. And so by the time I finally got the first letter in the mail saying that her first payment was due, it was over $17,000. And it was nearly 20. So on top of my 20,000 of credit card debt, another 20 in my name. And I'm like, why is this coming to me in the mail? This is her debt. So I started looking up co-signed student loan, Sally Mae, and I realized what I did. And it was horrible. I was trying to coach her to improve her credit so that, because if the person who's primary on the account had really good credit and made payments on time for 18 months, then we could submit an application to get me released. And so that was my first like big goal with her. I was like, okay, let's do this for 1.5 years and then I can get released. But it wasn't working because her credit wasn't good and she wasn't able to make payments. I was making payments for a while. And that nightmare, guys, seriously a nightmare. Don't ever co-sign loans for people, not your boyfriend, not your like best friend, not like nobody. And so, yeah, basically what we ended up doing was I sat down with her family and I said, this is really a financial burden that's messing up my credit. I can't get an apartment. Like so many things are, hurting me because of this. I need us to figure out what we're going to do. And so then she and I kind of teamed together and found essentially consolidated all of her student loan debt with a new lender and essentially wiped me off the Sally Mae loan, moved all of her debt into one new lender, and then she made her monthly payment. It was hard because then no more friendship with her sister. No, like it was one of those things where money can really ruin relationships. And that's why I think the healthier the conversations, the earlier conversations you can have, the healthier the outcome is going to be and the relationship is going to be. So I think financially, I was way too willing to share, to help. Yeah, of course I'll share my credit with you. Of course I'll apply to this thing because growing up, the mentality, especially in a lot of Latino cultures, it's not just the way I grew up. I think this is very pervasive, Latinx across the board. We are very community-based culture. Like, it's for us, it's for all of the people. If I make something, I'm gonna, reach back and help my people as well. If I am successful, I'm gonna share that success. And I think we have to start to think, like I started to think recently about, how does that serve me? And in what ways does it serve me? But how doesn't it? And we have to be sort of willing to be sort of like critical of our culture and say, like, well, that can help you in certain aspects, but financially you shouldn't be just signing loans for everybody. And so I think I've started to really become a little bit more critical and strategic about the financial moves that I make and making sure that I put myself first, because I can't help anybody if my credit's ruined because of a move like that.